everyone. This is Dr. Christina Rahm, and I am here with Yulia Stark, and she is the president and founder of the European Women's Association. She is also the VP of Development for Europe for DrC Ventures, and a good friend of mine. And we do a lot of stuff together, and now we're partnering, and just another thing, and she's on the board of the Rahm Foundation, representing all of Europe, actually, for this foundation. And through this, we're developing a mentorship program, and we've just been discussing about how Yulia's done mentorship her whole life. And I say mentorship / internship because I want something out of it, right? Because you got to teach something. Let's be really honest. You don't pay someone for mentoring them, right? You pay someone for getting work done. And we're going to talk a little bit about that. And then she's bringing her vast experience in Europe. We're going to combine the two and work together to create an even better program that's ever been in existence, because the Rahm Foundation has been around for a long time, but it's time to expand to Europe and to the rest of the world, which I've never done. And so you're an integral piece. So, Yulia, I'm going to ask some tough questions today. We're going to be the least fun podcast on the Rahm Foundation.
Or politically correct, yeah.
We're going to talk about the hard facts of life, about being a mentor or a mentee. Because I just said this in my office. If people don't know how to mentor, this isn't the place for them. But I'd like to ask you, how hard is it for you to be a mentor to others? And how many times have you done that in your life? How many thousands of people have you mentored?
Well, listen, as was said before, we are all mentors to somebody. It can be to our children, it can be our friends, our colleagues. And often we do it unconsciously. We are doing it on a daily basis.
And did you ever get paid for being a mentee?
No. And I remember getting my first job, first internship. It was at the KBC Bank in Belgium. And I did business management, did that investment banking. And so my goal was not to work at an insurance company like the most of my classmates went. I wanted to work at a stock exchange. I felt like this is where I'll get rich and it will be fun. Every day something else. But nobody wanted to hire somebody who had no experience at investment banking. So, and I understand. I was, 21 years old when I went to look out for a job. And I remember getting to the KBC Bank and I was begging for an internship. It was 6 months, unpaid. And I said, listen, I'll be the first one to come, the last one to leave. You can ask me anything, I'll do it. And for the first 3 months, I wasn't doing the best and the funniest, job at all. So I was sorting out the mail. I was even cleaning the offices, anything. And after 3 months, I got it. I could just sit there and listen in how the investment bankers were actually doing the calls. And I loved it, connecting to people. So I was making notes, staying longer. And I think that attitude, to be honest, I'm missing right now. Because when we founded European Women's Association, it's almost a decade ago, we had no money to hire people. We are still an NGO. We went to apply for European funding, and they told us, well, you're a new organization, you have no experience in managing money. So after 3 years, you can reapply. And so, the first 3 you have to survive financially. I can work for free a lot of time, but it's not sustainable. So I remember going out to other universities, and the first one was in Greece, and saying, listen, guys, I'm looking for marketing gurus who'd help me with the website, social media, to create some awareness. And to be honest, 9 out of the 10 guys that came were like, I'm sorry, they were shitty at what they're doing. They were not motivated. They just came in because...
I'm so glad. Wait, I'm going to stop and let people hear this. 9 out of the first 10
were not motivated at all.
I always say that if 1 out of 10 makes it,
that's good.
Yeah, it's good.
That's good. And I remember I found that one girl. Her name was Stephanie. And she was a go-getter. She was proactive. So because I was overwhelmed with the startup of the European Women's Association, she was just literally coming up with ideas, but also the solutions, how to implement that with limited budgets or human resources. So that Stephanie, she actually, us two, we founded the association. And she was 19, 20 years old just. And so what I did, at a certain moment, I started to pay her. And I said, please find other 10 like you. And so she helped me to interview and to train the new interns. So it's not an easy times right now.
Yeah.
It's not like you and I. You come from pharma, right? So that's a hard business. I come from investment banking.
Yeah.
The level of performance was so high.
So high.
And if you're not performing, you're fired, right?
You're out. And so when I started at Pfizer, so same thing when I was presenting on women in depression, and I actually had a master's degree. but I was doing that for free, doing some stuff for them. I didn't even plan on working with them, but I remember I went through, so I was pregnant with my second son. It was a 6-week away from home, 6-week block training, and I got pneumonia. And I had gotten pregnant right after I was hired. So I think I had told one other person, I think maybe my boss, but no one else knew because I was going through training. If you make 2 80s, so 2 Bs, right, you're fired. The second one, you go home. And this was on your oral exams, which happened every day, and your written exams. And I ended up having pneumonia. It came out. I was in a meeting. I started coughing, and blood started coming out everywhere. So I could tell everyone I was pregnant. And then I remember a girl came into, we were the top 2 students in the class, and she had to bring me the notes because they said, you need to go home. I said, I'm not going home. And they said, well, then you have to take the test even though you're not in training all day. And so she came, gave me the notes that the professor, that the teacher, the trainer sent to me. And she said, just so you know, I'm not going to help you. If you fail, you fail. I don't care that you're pregnant. And that was kind of my initiation into all that. And then I passed it. I got to come back. I ended up going. We had to go to 2.5, almost 3 weeks to New York. So it was a very long training, and that was your first phase. And again, it was hard. And during that time, you didn't get paid.
Yeah.
You know what you're typically paid. And I have to say this, my internships in college from undergrad and graduate school were unpaid, right? So we got credit, college credit for it. But I guess times have changed a little bit, and that's why for me, the tough discussion with you is when you're a mentor like you know, we've gone through different things. Are you going to hold people accountable like you were held accountable and like you did in the past? Or are you going to create a different dynamic? I'd love for you to answer that and why your answer is what it is. Like if someone doesn't show up for work or doesn't come to the internship or doesn't care about you taking your time to mentor, what are you going to do?
It's been a hard journey. So in the last, I would say, 2-3 years, we had many interns, and 1 out of 10 would be exceptional. And that exceptional person, I'm happy to pay.
Yeah.
Because he or she will have a measurable impact on the company and the growth of it. So I think we have to understand we are not in a charity organization. Even if you're an NGO, even if you're Rahm Foundation.
Even if you're a 501(c), you still have to make it.
You have to make it.
I tell people that all the time.
Yeah.
Who's giving the money to the foundation? Yeah. And usually you know this, you're sponsoring it.
Yes.
Or I'm sponsoring it.
But the time, not only money-wise, imagine how much time goes into that. We had this conversation. We are mothers, we are wives, we have lives, and we're missing out on the most precious things in our lives is our family, because we love what we do, but it comes with a price. And having the right attitude at workspace, it's very important. So for me, it's not only about performance, but that attitude when you come in. And I remember I was getting my first job, and it was in Brussels, in Belgium. And my first manager was an American guy. His name was Bill Allen. And I remember entering the interview, and he said, "Girl, you've got 3 minutes to convince me why you're getting this job." And I was like, okay. And I don't remember what I said. He said, "Okay, you've got the contract, 3 months. And after that, we'll reevaluate. And then you'll know if you can stay or not." So it was so harsh. And I found it very American. But at the end, it formed me so much. And so now I'm bringing that same attitude to European Women's Association in our collaboration. I only want us to be surrounded by people with the right working attitude. That means if there is something urgent needs to be done, you're going to do that. You're not telling me that at 5 or 4 p.m. it's time to go home and I'll do it on Monday. No, you are doing it today, now, because that's urgent. And then you can compensate it maybe on another moment. We maybe need more balance than we used to have when we were younger. Yeah. But no, I want to see more. And if I give you the first time you can be late, we have a conversation, then maybe have another challenge that you didn't deliver. I want to understand why and how you will improve your performance the third time you're out. And it can be in the same day. So this is, I learned my lesson in a hard way. I'm not wasting my time away from my children on people who are not motivated or performing. It doesn't matter if I'm paid, especially when I pay them. But most of our interns are not getting paid. They have to prove them first, the first 3 months, that they are worth to be part of our vision and mission. And I think it's maybe too hard, but that's the lesson I learned.
No, I have to say, because I'm like you, it's my time.
Yeah.
And it's not just my time, you know this. So when you're mentoring someone, your family's time, the other people that work for you time, you're giving that, and collectively it's this huge amount of time. So I don't care whether you're paying them or not, really. They have to do a job. But I'm like you, if you're paying them, then they better deliver just like someone that was working for you.
Yeah.
Or they have to leave. And we have had interns. I mean, I wish he was in here right now. I need to do a video with him. I fired my son. You know, of course, I think he was 8th or 9th grade. No, he can drive. Because I remember, or someone else was driving. No, someone else was driving because Duquesne didn't drive for the first year. He was 16. In this country, when you get your driver's license, but Duquesne was like, no, because he was always studying. Yeah. He was really into sports, and he didn't care if he drove. He didn't go to parties. You know, that wasn't what he did.
Responsible guy.
He was so responsible. I remember one day I said, you really need to learn to drive because I don't want to drive you to school when you're 18 and 19. So he got, I think I loved the time in the car with him, of course, but I think he enjoyed it. But he was late. And for the second or third time, I can't remember right now, but I fired him. And he said something, I don't want to embarrass him. I've said this story before, but I've told it before. You know, it's my mom, so I'm not fired. And I was like, oh, yeah, you're fired. Definitely now.
Because you're my son, yeah.
And I still remember that conversation in my office. It was not on the phone. It was in my office. It was painful. It's right, painful.
Yeah.
But I don't know if it was more painful than anyone else in the company because that same year I let a couple of other interns go. And again, it went back to we're taking time to care about you all. And if you don't want to learn to build it, and that year we were building companies for them, helping them learn operating agreements, articles. And I hope to get that to that place with what we're doing here now. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But we're not there yet. We're starting at the beginning. You and I were in meetings. Yeah. We're talking about being mentors, what we need to do. And I would say each mentor has a different path. Yeah. Like you're going to be able, if I said to you, okay, Yulia, I'm going to pay for intern, which is what we're saying. Yeah. And you said to me, I don't want to pay someone. I would say, why not? Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Because this person can respond to your emails, do your social media, whatever you pick, right? But it's got to be a skill set that they're useful, that you either teach them or you help them improve so they can learn something to do something better in their life. Yeah. Tell me about those steps. So when I say to you, you get an intern, they can start at 10 hours. If you need to move them to 20 or 30, we'll talk about it based on how they're doing. Because Duquesne reminded me today, we need to see how they're doing. Yes. They need to prove they can do it. Because his argument to me, which you'll understand, was, Mom, 10 hours is a lot when you're responsible. Yeah. So they either have to use those 10 hours and produce, or they can't do 20 or 30. And that was a great point I never thought about, because Duquesne's like, right. He was like, no, we're not going to just pay 30 hours for people that we don't know if they're working 30 hours and if they're successful yet. So just today, two people, you and Duquesne, have brought me that point.
Duquesne. Yeah. Duquesne and I, we get each other. And I think, again, from our own experience, I prefer not to pay them in the beginning. I want to see them work and deliver results, because if you start paying by hour, and I've seen them making one social media post in 1 hour. Listen, this is not how it works. Like, you cannot charge me, like have a sheet with, I worked for 20 hours and then I made 5 posts. It doesn't work with me. I know how much time some things take, and I can teach you to make it faster. There are so many AI tools out there. You cannot tell me, like, I have to think about creative way to write this post about whatever, pet food. ChatGPT does the work, so please don't come to.
Well, and I don't do GPT, and
you still do it,
but I still do it. Yeah, no, that's why I'm like, I just had this discussion about logos and websites, and I can go on to GoDaddy, for example, and get a website done in 30 minutes, and I've done it numerous times. But I hire people to get that done. Now, a really good website, of course, takes a long time. Yeah, can take months, right? Yeah. But it's the point of getting something up there. You got to have people working as interns that can produce, and you have a learning curve, right?
Yes, and that's why in the beginning, a lot of time is getting lost by looking for information. Listen, I don't want to pay for that time, so that in 1 week, no, I'm actually not that interested. Or like,
so Duquesne said, he goes, they need to look at and spend their time figuring stuff out.
That's what you're
not paying them to figure it out.
Because that learning time doesn't produce any value to the company.
Right, because I would say a good mentee, a good intern is spending their time away from work, figuring out how to do the job, and not just showing up after they've been out all night. Yeah. And then being like, what do I do, and not doing any research. Because to me, that's not someone I want to hire in the company.
You want proactive people.
Yeah.
Because you and I are so busy. And when we take an intern, I want her and him to come to me and say, listen, I've got these great ideas. It will improve our visibility, our performance, whatever, that way. And this is what I need for that. And I don't know how to do this. Can you help me with that? Yeah. And it's very specific. So here she comes with a idea. And I love that. Creative ideas.
Yeah.
I'll give you the time to experiment.
Yeah.
But you thought about that. You don't come to me and tell me, what do I do?
No, in fact, I had one of the interns in the past say they wanted to learn technology, right? Yeah. They wanted to do the internship, but they wanted to learn technology. And I said, that's fine, but you're not going to learn that during what I'm paying you, right?
Yeah.
You're going to, just like, I mean, I'll use another one of my kids, Crater is going to take a class. I'm not paying, I can pay for the class, right? Yeah. I would anyway as a mother. It's
right,
like
you do
with
it
your kids. But I'm not going to pay him for taking the class, right?
Yeah.
So whether someone's at the company or someone's in an internship, us even paying for them or assisting them with things is
a lot,
right? So I was pretty frustrated because I was like, no, you're coming here for me to teach you a skill set. But if you are interested in learning something that we don't have here, you should be learning that on your own so you bring value to this company.
Yeah.
Right?
So I think it's about the value we bring. It must be a win-win to make it work long term. At the end, we want to keep the best because if we are really honest, DrC Ventures is doing something very unique. Yeah. People that end up in this company, in this group of companies actually, they have an opportunity to, at a very young age, if they are great, get amazing responsibilities and positions. Nowhere else you can get it.
Absolutely. I'm leaning on you heavily, and we were in the lake, and I know you lean on me too, but I really want you to bring, not that harshness, because it's not harsh, the reality. Because the truth is, if we don't bring the reality of life, we're never going to help people.
We are wasting the most valuable things, our time.
And their time.
Yeah.
Like if they're not willing to put it in there, they're wasting their time too. I mean that. Someone said the other day, we're responsible for them being successful. But I said, you probably heard it. I said, well, we can't be responsible for, they've got to be responsible because you know this. You said 1 out of 10, and I have basically a very similar experience to you. I can't make someone, Yulia, want to do the right thing or want to succeed. I can't make someone tell the truth or work hard.
Yeah.
I mean, you can't, when they said that to me, I'm like, wait a minute. Their success is not based on me. Their success ultimately is based on what they want to put into it.
That brought me to a memory I have of my business coach, I think a decade ago. He came to me and said, Yulia, remember one thing, it's a Dutch expression, I hope I translated it correctly, but he said, you cannot make out of a donkey a racehorse.
No.
And I remember that, like, so every time I have a new intern, I'm checking, are you a donkey or are you a racehorse? I need a racehorse.
Oh my gosh, I need to use that.
I'm so sorry, but that's the reality. And this is what helped me, and the attitude and this grit that some of them have, that's a potential racehorse. He or she,
that's what you have to have.
That's what you need to have.
Because with a donkey, you're going to waste all your time.
Yeah.
And then they may just kick you the whole time.
And they're stubborn and they're not coachable. No. So I'm not working with the donkeys. I'm so sorry.
I'm going to use that because I like that a lot.
And I think maybe the last motivation we can give in this collaboration between the Rahm Foundation and European Women Association is that many of our interns came to us for free so that they could be part of the events, international events we are doing.
This is a great point, Yulia, because I'm getting ready to say, there's not going to be people here in the United States that have the opportunity to collaborate with a European nonprofit. It's a huge opportunity.
That's a big one.
And I'm telling you, you know this.
Yeah.
If I were younger and I had that opportunity, I would have been all for it.
Yeah.
I'm actually excited. I mean this sincerely about who you will mentor, because I know you will use that as an example to show others what you're doing. And you may go through 5 or 6 people before you find the right person, but I know you're persistent.
Yeah.
And I know you're like me, you just don't give up. It's interesting. I noticed the projects we're working on, and everyone's worried about them getting done. And you've heard me say what you say, which can take a year. Yeah. I mean, it's a lot of work. I don't get discouraged because of that, just so you know. I mean, I put pressure on us because you're the same way. We both put pressure.
Yeah.
But in the end, I'm like, things take time. What we don't have is to waste our time now on people that don't care.
Yeah.
And that are the donkeys. Now, no, when the plane loves donkeys, I'm like, no, we know what the donkeys. So I really hope, I know the mentors want you're mentoring them to try to teach them that, because some people haven't had an official experience doing this. The gut instinct is when you're picking someone you're going to mentee, the gut instinct, they've got to really want it. Yeah. They can't be forced to do it. No. And then honestly, none of us have a crystal ball. So we may think we've picked the best mentee and we may be disappointed, but you can't give up, because part of the thing I hope we both teach with both nonprofits is the persistency and the dedication to not giving up in life. Yeah. Things are coming and going so quickly, and people, I think, have a tendency right now to give up more than keep fighting and too fast. And so it's not going to all be fun in this program for everyone. I had the conversation this morning about, I said, just like when you play sports and you get out there at 6 a.m., because I know like Dylan and Duquesne used to have to be out there at 5:30 and 6 in the morning in college and high school, right? And they did 2 a day. So they would do it, go home, eat something, and then come back and just be in the sun and be playing football outside. Same with soccer. You guys call it football over there. That's not always fun, right? And when all their friends are out having parties and enjoying it, but they care about it and they're dedicated. And this program, I hope, is the same way. I hope we put people through things to show them the reality of life and not a false illusion. Because the truth in a job, like I hate to fly. It's my work.
And that's what you do.
And that's what I do all the time. It's just part of it. People ask me, how do you do it? And I'm like, it's part of what I have to do to do my job. And I know you. I've worked with you. And there's days when we don't sleep. And if you ask either one of us, would you rather be in the pool or would you rather be getting up and being in the heat? We would both say, well, we would rather be at the pool. Yeah. Then we would both say,
we go in the heat.
We go in the heat. We are going to be working today all day. And we've done it repetitively. So I never question ever your work ethic. And I'm excited about what will happen in this program as we do it together in this collaboration.
No, I'm sure it will work out because I really believe that we attract the right attitude as well. Yeah. Things that people who don't understand this kind of work ethics won't even apply.
No.
I hope. Please do not apply.
Please don't apply. No,
your donkey do not apply.
Don't.
Your racehorse, please apply. We need you.
So they can go to the Rahm Foundation site, or they can contact you. We're going to put your information up there as well. And then I see a lot of recognition that will help people from the two organizations collabing, and we've talked about that. And I think bringing those two together, if you and I see someone that really puts their heart and mind and life into it, we will promote them. You know how we are.
Yeah,
and we'll probably be fighting over who they work with. I want the fastest racehorse.
I know. I will get them. We'll get them together. So I look forward to this collaboration.
Yeah,
Thank you so much
for
having me.
Thank you.